father and my uncle ran it with the Centennial Farm. So they ran it for a long, long time. And they worked very hard on the farm. Dairy farming is, I don't recommend it to anybody. The new way, we have a lot of employees, but it was just the two of them. And they ran it well, they kept it clean, they did everything they were supposed to do, but it controlled their life. They were probably 6 in the morning till 6 to 7:30 at night, and then in the summers till 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But the dairy industry changed. And back in the 80s, there was a government buyout. They participated in that buyout and they got out of it with really not, they lost it, really, is what happened. And that really imprinted on my mind this idea of a work-life balance, because all that work is just, in a sense, was gone. And so it always caused me, as with my company, not to want to work weekends or work nights, because we always did growing up. That was a high privilege not to be in the dairy industry, that at night you could be done. And so I put that as a goal, and I followed that my whole life. Now that the boys are older, I work more now, but just because I don't have as much to do it. But it was something that I had set, and these goals helped drive that for me. So what are the goals? They're goals that we have at our company. It's the same goals I'm going to talk to you guys on and what's in our packet today. And there are areas that I think there might be something I'm missing, but I think I'm hitting the top categories. And so again, if this is the takeaway, the walk away when you're done, think of your life more than just your career and what you do outside of your career. Even though the majority of your hours are spent working, is fine. But your life, I would say, there's fun and entertainment. And this, I have these categorized in a certain way because I want the career at the bottom. So as we work on your worksheets later, you're going to be working on ideas for yourself. So I'm going to warn you now, in each of these categories, I'm going to ask you to write something down, even you guys that are at home watching. The first one is fun and entertainment. That's going to be something that is unique to each person. Second one is friends and family. Third, health and fitness. Fourth is personal development. I've got in here for me, spiritual. And in that, I believe in God, and I believe that He can give direction and guidance. And that has helped me because I'm categorizing my life here and I'm looking for direction. And so that's key for me. The personal development is more than just spiritual. It's developing education-wise. It's developing you as a person in all aspects. It's unique to you. The next one is giving back, and that's giving back to maybe friends or family. That's giving back to your community. How you give back is going to be unique to you as well. It could be it financially, be of your time, or different types of resources that you have, but that's a key factor. As you look at some of these, I would argue giving back brings purpose and meaning. You know, I'm working hard, I'm being successful, and I have all these things. And you'll find as time goes on, giving to others in some way has far more value than having for yourself. Then career and financial. I'm self-employed. Most people are not, but it doesn't matter. All of us are self-employed in some way or another for our careers, for ourselves. And so what you have far is retirement plans, what you want for your career, how you want to see that advance. That is a category, but that's one of these 6 categories. And so again, I'm trying to get you to segment and think about your life as we look long term. So you look at things from a worldly point of view. The world looks at things at a very surface level. You'll take somebody, he's a winner, Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan, and they are, and what they do, they're phenomenal in that. And so we look at them and we say, that's real success. And it is in a category. We have, but I'm saying there's 6 categories in your life. And so if somebody is successful in business, and Elon Musk is very successful in running a business, far more than I am, and we look at him, we can have a tendency as the general public to listen and evaluate them on all aspects of life. And you want to be careful not to do that. And because they might be experts in one area, but another area might not go so well. And so as we find ourselves, and it has helped it's been a barometer for me, because there's times that I'm jealous of other people. I'm like, they have more than I have. At my age, they had this, they had that. And I'm going to backtrack around and hit on this more, but these are unique personal goals. And so you might see something in someone's life, and we've all heard of that. And then you do an interview, and they must have this amazing life. And then the interview is done on 2020 or something, 60 minutes. You're like, shoot, yeah, I don't want to life. I would argue that people can get out of balance. When you're very successful in one area, you can get easily out of balance, out of whack. So the idea of truly being happy, I think my argument is for these 6 areas.
Yeah.
If you're looking at, and again, this is we're calling it a work life, but it is really more of a life balance. And I'm just giving you my story. This is how I've gone through life. This is what I've had success to a certain level for me in. But I submit to you, if you're going to live 70, 80, 90 years or 100, you want to, when you go back on it, to have success, you need to be balanced. If you're going to be really hyper-focused and all you care about is fun and entertainment, that's going to be a problem long term. If you're going to have a situation where all you care about is family and friends, that's not going to probably give a long-term plan that's going to work for your life. If all you care about is making money, working nonstop, having success in your career, in the end, I don't think I have to give many arguments. And we've watched that happen to people where it affects their marriage, it affects their children, it affects their friendship, it affects their health. And so this argument today, the takeaway is to have a long, successful, positive life, you want it to be balanced out. And we're going to get into the worksheet later on, but I'm making my pitch right now. I'm looking over here to see if it's a landing anywhere. So in that, so what I'm arguing, I've lived. And in that, I've lived with fear. Because I'm like, I got to produce. I got to make it in life. I got to pay the bills. And in that, the mind or the things around you that you're picking up become loud. And the more you look at it, the more you let this anxiety build. You're like, I got to put the extra hours in. I got to put money away for retirement. Am I going to be ready? So-and-so has more money away than I do. They have a nice extra house. And this idea, this fear of failure, there's a little bit of value. There's some benefit in it, but it can quickly go too far. And then you find yourself really out of balance. Some of the things that I've experienced is comparing myself to others. It's an absolute poison to have a good life-work balance. Overworking is easily something that people fall into. This idea, this fear, it can become anger. It'll turn on you in anger. It will then, you fall into greed. You fall into the effects of not making good, wise decisions. It'll help create burnout. Again, I'm talking about fear. The fear that I need to succeed in the world around me. It affects smart thinking because it causes you to think more on hard work instead of smart work. We're going to touch on that a little bit more. But this concept, it certainly doesn't help people wanting to work around you. So we talk about our 6 employee goals that we have, that we just went over, the same goals. If somebody follows those 6 goals, if the top 5, if they cover the top 5, are they going to be a good employee? Are they going to be driven to want to succeed? Absolutely they are. They're healthy. They're happy. They're personal development. They're giving back. They have purpose and meaning in life. And we'll maybe touch on that more. In this sense of who am I? Why am I here? Why do I exist? And in that, there is a drive then when you're balanced and anchored to want to excel while at work, to have something of significance in your career. So it's not that don't worry about your career. I'm very driven career-wise. But the more I've found that I'm balanced, the better off that I am. And that's the pitch I've given to our employees. So in that, this anxiety aspect, it fights also against what I would call the rhythms of life. And there are times, there's ebbs and flows of things in your career or in other aspects of your life. Now, I found that there are areas that it takes time. There's goals that I've had that some of them I've not achieved. And I started back in 1986. And so I pushed on some areas, certainly in my career. I pushed to try to get things to happen in the way that I wanted them within the time frame I wanted, so I could compete with others and feel like I'm where I needed to be. And it has not gone well. And the rhythms of life and how they work were against me. But I pushed anyways. And then at a later point, it's like the door just opened and it worked out great. One of the things would be the growth of the business. It really took the next generation. I have great employees, but I have Drew, my nephew, and my other two sons have come in. Once they came in and we started hiring some other great employees, it just took off. But I tried to push before that, and it was exhausting. It was no fun. And I was out of balance. And these goals that we're going to talk about, this is something that you're going to look over for your life. If you do this, I'm trying to make a pitch that you fill this out. And it's not like I look at this every day, but it's an anchoring for me. So I would also say, before we get into the goal sheet, entrepreneurs, it's been said more than once or twice, that it takes about 7 weeks a year to be the most effective as an entrepreneur. So that's nights off, weekends, and 7 weeks. That's the pitch I keep talking to Drew, and it seems crazy. But the idea is they need to be creative. They need to be able to think about what they're doing and evaluate in the business. I submit it's the same thing for any and everyone. In your own life, you're living your own career, your own life in these 6 areas. In order for you to really evaluate yourself, and if I can get you to do this on your own, we won't be doing it all here, you need to slow up at times. Look at yourself. Think about what you're thinking. Think about what you're doing and the goals that you have. Am I in the right direction to hit the goals that I want? I want these goals and I'm doing these things. Is it working or is it not? And that takes you to really slow up and to quiet yourself. And that's hard in this work to do. But it's something that I think this idea of working hard has value, but working smart has far more value. And so this idea of eliminating a hurry, I have 10 things that I read in the morning, thank you things that I'm thankful about, or things I want to do, just some reminders. But one of them is to ruthlessly eliminate hurry from my life. I have failed. They've all watched that, but I continue to work more and more to slow down and think, what do I want to do? How is life going for me? And maybe I'll feel negative because I don't think I'm doing well in an area of my life that the world looks at. And then I'll go back and think, no, but I'm hitting all these other areas. I'm doing well in these areas. So that being said, I want to go to our blue pamphlet. I want to talk about this. The book that I have, I'll be right back, this is an old book. And so I didn't give you all the stuff I have in my book, but I'm just full of all kinds of ideas and thoughts. But when I started out one day, when I was 24, writing down, and that's the first one, this is the example, everything I wanted out of life. I didn't write, the things that you truly want. If you want a mansion, write it down. But it's going to be your life. It's what you're picking. So in this, there's an example here. Everything I ever wanted is the pages. And then it's going to be, you're going to categorize them. If you look at the bottom of my example sheet, it's the scale. There's an A, I need it. B, I desire it. C, I want it. And so that's how, and then you categorize it. If I got 5 A's, maybe 1 is more important than the other 4. And so I give that a 1. And the others, I give maybe a 2 or a 3. So you're categorizing in each of the 6 areas of your life that I'm proposing, things that you want, and then you're going to give them a value of how important they are to you. Does that make sense? So I sat down and I wrote them, and I filled it all out on my sheet. I've got pages and pages of stuff. This is what I want out of life. But what I'm asking, and I'm going to have you guys do as an exercise, one thing that you want in each of these categories. So it's not like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to mansion. No, I'm going to force you to think across these 6 segments of your life so that you're going to function in a balanced life. So we're going to come back to that. I'm giving you a warning. And then if you guys take me up on this, then you take them. The next one is my personal priorities or goals. So you got the list on the front, everything I ever want in these 6 categories of my life. And then you're going to go to the next section and break them down, pull them out, and put them in to my personal priorities of fun of entertainment. Pull those out. The relationship ones you're going to pull out. So you're taking them off the first sheet, and you're putting them on the second one. So in the end, you're going to have 6 segments that are 6 areas of my life. And you might find out, well, I got 12 of them for my career, making money and financial things, and I got nothing on personal giving back. I guess I'm a little out of balance in my life. And so it's not as easy as you think. And this is not to be done all at once. And my goal book here, I have stuff that started in 86, December of 12/9/1986. And then I go into the 2000s. I've not been writing this much lately. There's things that I've crossed off. There's things that I've added as life's going on. I look at life different than I did when I was 23, 24, but I wasn't married, but I talked about, I wanted to get married and my wife. I talked about my kids and what I wanted to do. I'm creating this life that I had this desire for. And it's run pretty true for me. So I would say be careful. What you write. There's something else here I want to talk about before we get into our little worksheet. And that's the back is my present life. And it's really what it is a journal. And I've done a lot of journaling in my life. I've got a stack about this high of notebooks of journaling. And so I would really encourage you, along with the goals in the 6 areas of your life, to consider journaling. And so as I did the journaling, I normally do it when something has happened really significant in my life that I want to remember, or something is really bothering me and I'm struggling, then I will journal as well. If there's times that I'm like, there's an epiphany and I'm like, oh, and I felt maybe even God directed me. I've been struggling all this time in this area, and I think I've got a conclusion, then I will journal that. When you journal, be careful not to be negative. Try to be as positive as you can, because thinking and writing is imprinting in your mind. So as we talk about these goals and we start doing the project, how you think matters, and what you write down matters all the more. And then I write it down. It causes me to materialize it, to process it as I write it. Probably the biggest thing about journaling is I'll go back and read stuff. And there's sometimes I'm like, I'm 15 years ago, I was writing on this problem or this issue or this shortcoming in me. 15 years ago, and I'm still fighting with it. And then sometimes I'll have a look in the mirror and I'm like, it looks like something needs to change in me because it's not working what I'm doing. I would have never known that if I wasn't journaling. And some of the stuff I'll write 15 years ago, it's the same thing I wrote last month. And I'm like, all right, I gotta deal with this. But there are things that epiphanies, the light bulb stuff too. And I'm like, I forgot, that's right. And so then I'll blend that in to how I want to function and think in my life. It's because most people are not getting critiqued by people they can trust or know. Everybody lets everybody else just kind of live life, and you're like, well, you can see that guy's heading down a train wreck. It's a slow train wreck, but I've watched a lot of it in life. It is a painful thing to watch, far more painful to go through. And so this work-life balance, this life balance takes It's not easy to say at the end of life, I was happy with my life. I did the things that I wanted. I achieved as I wanted across the segments of these 6 areas that I think matter in our life. So that's my pitch on journaling. And I really would encourage you to do that and then to go back again, be positive. There's an area that I'll write, there's an area that I'm struggling with. It's not going well. And I'll say, I'm going to overachieve. I'm going to achieve this success. I'm going to overcome this. I'm learning. This is going to be for my good. And so that's the kind of stuff I'll start journaling, but I'll give details on what it is. So it's like self-therapy. Okay, so that being said, before we go into the homework, because I got time, any questions on what I said so far before we hit the 6 areas? Yes.
What is the difference between I desire and I want?
I guess you could make it what it means to you, because I just wrote it down for what it means to me.
Okay.
I just put that the desire is something that I think is more innate in me. I'm like, I desire to have a great mate. I want to marry well and raise my boys. That's I would say a strong desire. I want a new truck. That's different. That's how I do it in my mind. If you want to change it, you can. But I'm just categorizing them to values of importance.
Can you accomplish one of your goals? Do you just cross it off? Do you?
I love accomplishing a goal. No, I don't cross it off. I check it. I make notes in how I'm doing. I've got all kinds of notes as I'm progressing on goals here, what I'm doing, but I want to see it. I want to know it's there. And I love, as I get older, going through and saying, I did good on that one. Some of them are consistent goals that you've never achieved. It's just evaluating. How am I doing in this? How many fights did I start last month with my wife? Well, I'm pretty good on that. But that can be a never-ending situation, you know? How am I doing on my weight? Well, and I write down, that's one of my goals, and I got weights in there. They were better when I was younger. But it helps with this sense. I mean, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but all of us ultimately look at ourselves and evaluate who we are and how are we doing in life. And you anchor yourself in a way that no one else can for you. But seeing that you're achieving and accomplishing things helps anchor you, especially when it's crossed the balance of life, of these categories. So, that's another conversation. No other questions right now? Kathy, can we do a little homework?
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like you guys to do, and this is just, all I'm doing is trying to prime the pump that when you go home, you would make more copies of these, because I have a full book, but I'm whetting your appetite. And so in that, I'm asking that you guys write on this one here, everything I ever want in life on each of the categories. And so the first one is going to be fun and entertainment. Don't look at each other's stuff. I know you're not going to go into deep stuff when we get into give me back and all that, but just process fun and entertainment and jot something down. And that's you too, you guys as well. When I see almost all the heads up, then I'll move on. You're just doing fun and entertainment, right? All right. I'm not a patient man, so I think you're still right, but I'm not right. As we do these goals, there's something else that I want to say that I think one of the essentials of this is, and I talked about the rhythms of life. These goals are your goals. Fun and entertainment, to me, can be very different than what it is to you. Friends and family, your family's not my family. Our friends could maybe be some, but the same, but it's unique. Health and fitness is unique to me, as well as personal development, spiritual aspect. Some people might be atheists, some people might have different views. That's personal to them. The giving back and the career and financial. Each of these aspects are unique. Yeah, there might be two people the same age doing the same job. So there's one piece of the six. But as a whole, they're not the same family. Most likely they're not. And what I'm trying to say to you is these goals are unique. And it helps me when I start wanting to compare myself to others. Get me off track. I start getting fearful because I'm not keeping up. I'm not needing what other people think I should do or comparison. When I go through this, I'm like, this is my unique life. And so whatever goals I have are for me. And they don't have to impress anyone else. Nobody has read these. Well, maybe Kyle maybe did because she worked off it. But these are not, you can share them, but these are personal. These are yours. I mean, they really don't mean much to anybody else. Okay, next one, friends and family. What is it to you? What, as you look at your life and you want to have this balance and it's goals and achievements in life, you look back 90 years when you're 95 or 100. Friends and family. You guys as well. Kind of give you a little nod when you're done, so I have an idea. Okay. Health and fitness is the next one. And when we talk about health and fitness, I would like you to think of it, and you can expand these as you want. That's physical health and fitness. And that we're talking about that I am healthy physically, I'm healthy mentally, I'm at peace, I enjoy my life, I'm in a good spot in my life. And that this is one, as you write it, is going to be being evaluated as you go through life, as the first two as well. Okay. This is a big area, personal development. For me, I touched on it, that it means education, it means just self-awareness. It means spiritual to me as well. But for you, personal development, that the person, when you're 25 years old, meets the one that's 75, you're like, wow, we are not the same person anymore. We have grown and developed. Just one. Giving back. Giving back can be, I want to go join the Peace Corps, or I want to make a lot of money and I plan on giving money away. I want to give of things that I have in my house. I want to give of educating others, whatever it might be, something that you're giving back to the community and mankind. It's not just all about me, because there's something in our wiring that makes us, there's value, that there's just a sense of purpose when we give to others. So, Kyle, if you could get my bank account, so anybody who wants to give to me. Career, I put it last, not last, but not least. It's where we spend most of our time. It matters. And with career / financial, and you could have a goal, and I'm going to talk about this more when we're done with this one, but how we do the goals later on, the detail. So I'll wait on this one, but it's career, financial. So that's the start for you guys. Do with it. I encourage you, consider sometime, and you can add to it, but everything that you want, all it does is get you to think and to dream. Dare to have the courage to write down things that you don't know how you can achieve. Dare to write down things that maybe scare you a little bit, but deep down, you want this in life. Because that's the stuff, when you want to run a long life and excel at life, you need to be challenged. And there's this purpose and there's meaning, and difficulties are part of it. Somehow we're starting to lose that. We don't want to have difficulties. There's things that are really hard that I put down that I've not achieved yet, or I'm achieving pieces of it. So I challenge you to dare. We have a big, it's a photo of Yosemite National Park, and there's this big, huge mountain. And under it, I'm having it made. At MDL, we follow our dreams, dare to dream big. And so I say to each of you, put down stuff that matters to you. So if you do if you write these all down, somebody says, I really want to do this, even if you want to contact us, we can give you more of the details on it. Then you go, if you would have done that, then you would go to your goal sheets and you categorize them, saying that you got 50 goals into these categories, see how balanced you are, or out of balance. Trust me, I'm out of balance at times. But on top of that, then you start giving some detail to the goals. Let's go to the financial, for example. I want to have X amount of dollars in my retirement account at a certain age. I would write that. So you're given the detail. I want to have $1 million at 65 in my account, and I'm 35 right now, And then you would say, I'm gonna start adding 2,000 a month into my retirement account. And then once a year, I'm gonna put another $5,000 in. And then you might even go more detailed, more granular, and say, and I'm not going to go to Starbucks. And I'm gonna save money, and that's how, different ways I'm gonna do it. But as you look at these areas, it's not just career, but it's other areas like family and friends. This is what I want out of the family that I'm a part of, or the family I'm gonna create, and give detail so you can visualize it and see it happening. Even when it comes to health and fitness, it's hard for me sometimes. I'm like, I want to look a certain way, and I try to see myself in a certain way. And so you're taking your life. If you have this is my life book, and do I look at it all the time? No, there's been years that I've not. And because I'll go off, I have other in our company, we have a mission statement, we have core values. So that's how companies do it to succeed, and they have these KPIs, so they're writing goals down. You're all aware of how that works. But I'm saying this is your core values and mission statement for yourself, for how you want to live life. And I guarantee you, if you put the time and effort in, you look back at it someday, you'll be pleased. And I guarantee you, you will be higher. The success rate will be much higher for you in your career. It has to be, because and I've watched people who are just burn hard on their career and then just blow it up on the end and then get a divorce, have issues with their kids, nonstop mess in their life. And I'm like, you had that one really going well. If you could have drawn these along, even if you kept it here, but had this balance. And so that's the argument that I'm making. And hopefully it made some sense. That's the one takeaway that I want you to leave with. But any other questions? Any other input, comments? Somebody from MBL has to have one.
Like we're all super busy, right? How do you prioritize your time and like sitting down and doing this? Like, do you put it in your calendar? Is it on a weekend? Like any tips for that?
That was the part about ruthlessly eliminated hurry out of your life. Because there are times that I just, and I'm talking more now, I'm just making myself not schedule myself where I'm literally running from one appointment to the other. And there have been times in my life that when you're that busy, that's a red flag, that you're not being as successful and as effective as you think. I'm not done well at it, but I'm learning that's a red flag. There's no answer other than sit down and like, we're going to take a few minutes to do this. Phone rings, turn it off. It's harder than ever. But you see so many people that seem to be failing in life, but they're not. You look at them and you're like, they're not excelling at all. And in that, it's even more important than it was back in '86 to make yourself say, I'm going to evaluate my life and I'm going to take time for myself. But I don't have a good answer.
Mike, when you find yourself out of balance, I assume that you go back to your worksheet possibly and identify kind of the right mix. How do you then implement that for yourself, or how do you rebalance to get to that?
You know, one of the things is the friends and family. I have some key friends in family that I stay in contact with. I talk, some of them are on our board of directors, some are not. But when I start getting that way, once I figure it out, or they bring it up to me, and then it helps to talk to somebody else. I've got this here, but this is all me. If I'm off the rails, then somebody's got to help me. So not being isolated, having a good support group around you, I found is essential. Talking things out, it helps me to talk stuff out. I think I know what I want to do, but I want to talk. When I talk to them, I process, and then they give. If I evaluate, if you share with somebody who you give weight to, who knows you, who cares about you, they can help give good direction. So what I'm saying is that I don't always get myself back on mine. Sometimes I have others help me. But I know if I read this, at least I know what I'm trying to go, and I got an idea. And some people, I don't think they have an idea. They're just getting up every day and just like, Here I am. Sounds harsh, but true. Anybody else?
The majority of goals that you have crossed off, what's your main thought process? Is it due to you losing interest in accomplishing that? Is it because you think it's not accomplishable?
Not that it's not accomplishable. No, I lost interest in it. I mean, at one point, when I was young, I wanted to have a Jaguar. Well, as I got older, I was like, I don't need a Jaguar. And also found out that they're not made really well. They break down. I'm like, that was a bad one. I missed that one. I've had financial goals that I'm just now meeting that I wrote back in '86. So I was off balance, and now I was over here, and I've exceeded those. But other things I wanted to do, I got my degrees in psychology. How I got in business, who knows? But I was going to be a counselor, and it just that seemed right to me at that time. But as years went on, I'm like, that's not right to me anymore. And so you need to feel comfortable. What you feel now, you're going to adapt it and justify it. And they're my goals. This book doesn't control me. I wrote them down. I could change them if I want. I don't have to answer to anybody or say sorry. My goals. I wrote. That.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that kind of touches on, that's one of the harder parts for me is like where I see my career going. I'm only 29, right? I got a lot of career left. And I don't know what I'm gonna do in 10 years, you know, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity, but I don't know what I need to do to get to that next step, because I don't know what the next step is.
But that's not what this is. This is what's in you now.
Okay.
I'm 29. What I'm going to be doing at 49, I don't know, but don't write that. Write what I want to do at 29 and what I would like to do in the future, whatever that might be for you now. I mean, this is fluid. This is just you. But you don't have to make up stuff that you don't know or think, I got to write this stuff down, or I want so much in my retirement. Well, you don't know yet. So don't let it trick you on that.
What are your thoughts on having like a mentor or a leadership coach or something?
Huge.
what would you like?
It's what I've got 6 or 7 guys. They're part of you kind of want, these are peers, but some of them I look up to, their mentors. You want somebody that are your peers. You want somebody you can look up to, and you also want somebody you can help. So that's the part about giving back. You want somebody that I've learned this and I'm helping you. And there's value in having all 3 levels, because as you help someone else, it's like verbalizing it. You're like, well, you really think about it before you tell them. You're like, oh, you did what I said, it went bad. Oh, shoot, I should have thought about that more. It just drives it into you more. So you want those 3 categories in my mind. Okay.
What do you feel has been your most successful goal for you? If you want to share.
What means the most to me is driving down 3 to 4 generations. I think that I'm poised to do that. But I think I'd be here doing this back then. No, I'm pleased with my family and pleased with what I think that's going to go. So that would probably be the one that I think. The company, I'm very, very pleased. I mean, I never saw it being what it is. I never did. And it's just still taking off. So that's fun as well. Kathy, should I wind her down? Well, hopefully there was some value for you showing up. I hope that I communicated enough that it made sense to you. And if one of you does this, actually you make more copies or call us and let me know someday how it went.